So you're thinking about starting a wind farm, or at least exploring what's possible. Well, if that feels like a big leap, you're not alone. Wind projects can sound complicated, from the planning process to leases, grid connection, funding, turbine builds. It can seem like a lot. But the good news is, as a landowner, you don't need to become an energy expert. You just need to have a good understanding of the moving parts well enough to make confident decisions and protect the long-term value of your land. In this video, I'll talk you through the full wind farm journey, what to expect, what matters most, what to look out for if you want a fair deal, and the big things most landowners often miss. So what is a wind farm? A wind farm is a collection of wind turbines generating electricity, typically for supplying the grid. In the UK, wind farms can be onshore or offshore. What's the difference? An offshore wind farm is a wind farm located at sea, usually at large scale, hundreds of megawatts, and often involves leasing the seabed from the Crown estate. An onshore wind farm is a wind project built on the mainland, often ranging from a single turbine to 50 or more turbines. Landowners lease their land for turbine bases, access tracks, and substations. In this video, I'll be discussing onshore wind farms. Are wind farms worth it for landowners? In most cases, the answer is yes. Wind farms can provide long-term, reliable, hands-off income while helping to make the UK more energy resilient. Crucially, most of the project risks and liabilities sit with the developer, not the landowner. So for many landowners, it becomes a way to add a reliable income stream to their property over 20 or 25 years, sometimes even longer, without giving up the ability to farm around the turbines. Step 1. Does your land suit a wind project? This is where everything begins. Location, wind, space, and planning permission. Let's talk about space. A single commercial turbine can require a large footprint during construction, often 25 to 40 acres when you include access roads, laydown areas, and safe working space. The whole wind farm scales from there. Next, we need to think about wind speeds. Developers are looking for consistent wind, and a common benchmark is around 6 meters per second or more, because better wind speeds mean stronger yields and better project economics. We also need to think about proximity to properties. Planning decisions often hinge on the potential impact of noise and visual effects and safety. Developers will design layouts to keep turbines an appropriate distance from boundaries and nearby homes. It's also important to consider local support and policy. Now, planning rules have historically been restrictive, particularly in England after 2015. But policy has been shifting, with moves towards making onshore wind easier to approve at a national level. In practice, though, planning still matters and still takes time. Another factor is soil and land quality. Turbines are heavy. Soft or unstable ground can complicate foundations, access roads, and the entire construction. Soil types won't always be a deal breaker, but it's part of the overall feasibility picture. Step 2. How developers secure access to your land. If your land looks promising, a developer typically starts with a desktop assessment, checking the wind speeds, constraints, nearby grid infrastructure, and planning risk. If it stacks up, they'll move to more detailed feasibility work and then approach you about securing the site, usually through an option agreement. Let's talk about option agreements. An option agreement is how developers reserve your land while they do the big upfront work, studies, planning preparation, grid applications, and early project design. It gives the developer the exclusive right to pursue a project on your land for a fixed period of time, often around 5 years, and sometimes with extensions. For you as a landowner, the upside is early rental payments, and the potential to unlock long-term income. The downside is that your land is tied up. You'll likely be restricted from building new structures or doing anything that can interfere with the project, or the access routes, or the planning application. It's important to remember that an option agreement doesn't guarantee that a wind farm will be built. It just guarantees that the developer has the first right to try. Now let's talk about funding and capital. If you're partnering with a developer, you typically won't fund anything, but it helps to understand what's happening behind the scenes. Wind projects need significant capital, and developers generally use one of four routes. Self-financing, which are rare because costs are high. Bank financing, external investment, or building the project and then leasing or transferring operations to a management company. If you're considering self-development, remember that you take on all of the financial risks, but you also keep the upsides, i.e. more income. Most landowners still prefer the low-risk route, i.e. partner with a developer and receive agreed regular rents. Step 5. Grid connection. Grid connection is often the long pole in the tent. Developers typically apply as early as possible because waiting times can run for years in some areas. The grid is split into 14 local regions. Some areas, such as London, are oversubscribed, while some others have more headroom. If your land already has viable grid infrastructure nearby, or even better, an existing grid connection, that can make your site far more attractive. Most modern applications follow a two-stage process. First, an initial offer confirming that a grid connection looks feasible. Then, a follow-up offer that locks in the technical plan, works, and charges. After that, contractors carry out cabling and grid connection works, and the grid manages supply and demand once the site is live. Step 6. Choosing the right developer. If you're not self-developing, choosing the right developer is one of the biggest decisions you'll have to make. A good developer will run feasibility studies properly, be transparent about their grid connection strategy and planning risks. They will handle permitting and community engagement, and they'll put forward a fair option agreement and lease terms, and have the financial strength to see the project through to completion. Your goal isn't just to pick the developer with the highest headline offer. It's to pick the development partner that's most likely to deliver and build the project and manage it well over decades to come. Step 7. The lease. If the option stage is about reserving your land, the lease stage is where you protect your future. A strong lease should cover payment terms and how rent is calculated, roads, access and maintenance responsibilities, dispute resolution steps, monitoring and reporting expectations, decommissioning responsibilities at the end of the projects, and project timelines, handover rules, and what happens if the operator changes. And where appropriate, it should include mid-lease review options to bring payments in line with market conditions. This is where landowners can lose serious money if contract wording is vague. Even small phrasing can affect how income is calculated, how costs are shared, and how easily disputes arise later. So treat the lease like what it is, the document that defines your relationship with the project for the next 20 to 30 years. Step 8. The construction phase. Once planning and grid connection are in place and the lease is signed, construction begins. Typically, that includes access roads and site preparation, laying the foundations, tower construction, nacelle installation, blade installation, testing and commissioning. Construction can cause short-term disruptions, that's for sure, but for most landowners, it's manageable, and the long-term land impact is often smaller than people expect. From planning submission to a fully operational project, it can take several years. But once construction starts on site, it usually moves quite quickly. Step 9. Operations, monitoring, and your role. When the wind farm is live, a site operator handles the day-to-day management and maintenance of the project. Monitoring is typically done through sensors and systems that track performance and turbine health. As a landowner, your role is usually light, but there are 3 things worth doing well. Number 1, maintain a good relationship with the operator. Number 2, know who is responsible at all times, as operators can change over a 25-year project. And number 3, audit your payments periodically. Underpayments are often accidental, but they happen, especially when revenue streams are complex and energy prices shift. Renewable Obligation Certificates, or ROCs, have historically boosted wind farm revenue, but they're set to be removed in 2027. That can reduce overall project income, which may impact landowner rent payments depending on the lease structure that they have in place. However, many sites are likely to be repowered with fewer, larger, and more efficient turbines that can produce the same or a greater amount of outputs, helping to offset some of this change. The key for landowners is to understand how your rent is calculated and what happens when the ROC subsidy structure changes, and to make sure that any rent adjustments are proportionate and not excessive. Planning permission is the official approval to build. In the past, England has been the hardest place to get wind projects through, while Scotland has been far more supportive. Recent policy shifts have aimed to reduce barriers and make approvals more achievable. But planning is still a delicate process, with surveys, consultations, submissions, and sometimes appeals. The best approach as a landowner is simple. Understand the timeline, understand the risks, and make sure your option agreement accounts for real-world delays. Wind projects are not perfect, and it's worth going in with your eyes wide open. Factors to consider can include temporary construction disruptions, access roadworks, planning uncertainty and possible delays, intermittent outputs. Wind varies by region and even the season of the year. Also visual impacts, because not everyone loves how turbines look, and this will affect your planning application. Land tied up during the option period does have an opportunity cost, and if self-developing, the upfront costs can be significant. None of these are automatic deal breakers. They're simply factors to weigh against the long-term income and overall suitability of your land. Now, a common question that's often asked is, will the turbines devalue your land? Well, the research says no. For a lot of landowners, the income stream increases the overall value of the property, especially if grid connection and long-term leases are in place. The best way to reduce concerns is transparency. Understand your layout, talk to neighbors early, and ensure the project is professionally designed to minimize impacts. Starting a wind farm isn't just about putting turbines in a field. It comes down to contracts, planning, grid access, and long-term project management. But the landowner pathway can be much simpler than people think, especially if you work with the right developer and protect yourself with strong agreements. We've used a few definitions today, so if you're new to renewables, the terminology can be confusing. Our Renewable Energy Definitions guide breaks different industry terminology down in plain English. It shows how it applies on real projects and how it affects project feasibility and income. Check out our guide in the link below this video. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and share this video with other landowners who might be asking the same questions.